Beef fillet produces the tenderest steaks of all, but it is incredibly expensive. In this video, I'll show you how to break down a whole fillet, including how to cut your own steak and properly prepare and barbecue them for consistently excellent results every time, ensuring you haven't wasted your money on this premium cut of meat. And I also make a panic sauce, but more on that later. Now, I hardly ever buy beef fillet. It is very expensive, and frankly there are better value steaks you can get out there. I usually go for some sort of ribeye based steak like a tomahawk. But when I was ordering a brisket from iDevour, they had a deal on where you could get this whole 2.5 kilogram fillet for just £40. So I jumped at it. And I'm glad I did, because it came in at 2.8 kilograms and looks absolutely spectacular. Now, cutting up a whole fillet can be a little bit daunting because it's so expensive, but rest assured it's one of the easiest things you can cut up. You start by taking off this chain, which you can either mince up or trim a little bit further and treat as a sort of mini fillet. Next, you want to get your knife underneath the silver skin on the top and just take it all off. With that chewy silver skin out of the way, you just want to tidy it up a little bit. Just go around the fillet, take off any bits of hard fat that you can find, and this will just make the whole thing a little bit neater. And I'm going to keep these scraps in a bowl because they're going to go to the world's most spoiled dog. Next, the most nerve-wracking bit is taking off the head. Just find the bit where the sort of double muscle meets a single muscle and slice it straight off. This leaves you with a nice big roasting joint, which I believe is called a chateaubriand. But like everything with meat, it probably depends where you are in the world. Next, we go to the other end and take off the tail. This is just where it starts thinning out. Now, the tail is an awkward shape, but still great meat, so I actually chopped this up into chunks and made a Philly cheesesteak out of it. It was absolutely amazing. Now, this middle bit of the fillet is going to go into a beef Wellington, but it's only going to be for two of us, so I can afford to chop off just a couple of steaks. I'm taking them off the slightly thicker end and going for just over an inch thick. Most of this is going to be frozen until I need to use it, but I'm going to cook these steaks straight away. If you're not going to do a beef Wellington and you just want lots of steaks, you could always steak up pretty much the whole fillet, just chop off the tail at the end and separate those two muscles on the chateaubriand. But either way, as you can see, breaking apart a whole fillet is incredibly easy. Believe me, if I can do it, you can too. Now to prepare these two beautiful looking fillet steaks. Now, I have a few go-to techniques to make sure that these steaks turn out perfectly delicious and perfectly cooked. First one is a dry brine. I'm going to take some flaked sea salt and cover the steaks with them. Now, I'm not worried about over seasoning these. The theory is if you cover them in flake salt, give them a quick shake off, then the perfect amount of salt should remain on the steak. This may look like a lot of salt, but trust me, it works. And just repeat this on both sides. And with those two steaks saltier than my wife when she loses at board games, it's time to put them onto a new plate. And we are going to leave these to sit uncovered in the fridge for at least 3 hours. By dry brining, that salt should pull all the moisture out of the steak, season it, and then draw that moisture, including the salt, back into the steak. So it should be seasoned all the way through. If you haven't tried dry brining before, I highly recommend it. The flavour is night and day. I'm going to cook these steaks on my Weber Master Touch, but any barbecue with a lid will do. And I'll start by filling up my chimney fire starter, first with the leftover charcoal from my last cook, and then followed up by my Big K chili griller charcoal. I'm going to fill it up about 3/4 full because it's not a long cook. Light it up and wait until the top layer of charcoal has started burning. Then I'm going to tip it out into my fire baskets. If you don't have fire baskets, just pile up that charcoal on one side to create a hot zone and a cool zone. Just going to close the lid and then open the vents up about halfway. 3 hours having passed, it's time to take that steak out of the fridge. Now, I'm not going to leave it on the side to hit room temperature. I'm going to put it straight onto the barbecue, as I believe this is the superior method. Now, if you disagree with me, then please leave an angry comment. It really helps with the algorithm. The steaks go straight onto the hottest part of the grill, and I'm going to flip them every 30 seconds until they are browned to my liking. This regular flipping will allow it to build up a flavour layer by layer without overburning. This and the fact they have gone on straight from the fridge means that the centre of these steaks won't overcook while I'm doing this process. With steaks of this size, you're never going to get that deep dark colour that you can get on larger steaks, but the crust on these is still pretty good. I just want to check the internal temperature to make sure I haven't overshot them, and it's 31 degrees, so that's absolutely fine. I'll just give the edges a quick sear. Then for the second stage of the cook, I'm going to move the steaks over to the cool zone in the barbecue to allow them to come up to temperature slowly. I'm going to shut the vents down as far as they'll go without being closed, to give myself plenty of time, because I'm panicking. I was supposed to have some peppercorn sauce in the cupboard and I don't, so I've just got to throw some together with what I've got, and I don't have a lot. I'm drinking a bottle of red wine, so throw some of that in, Red wine goes with steak, some tomato puree, that'll help thicken it up, some SPG rub goes well with steak, makes everything taste better. Worcestershire sauce, that's barbecue related, shove that in. Some olive oil, oil goes in rubs, mix it up, see how it goes. Yeah, that's not great, that's far too acidic. Find some sugar goes in, sugar and tomatoes, that works well. Mix it in, hope it improves it. Right, that's much better. Give it a try, give the wife a try, and in her words, it's not that bad. Phew, right, with that out of the way, it's time to check back in on these steaks. It's been about 10 minutes and now they are up to 53, 54 degrees Celsius internal, which is absolutely perfect. This is going to give me a nice medium rare. I'll take them off, leave them to rest for 5 minutes or so, and it'll bring them up another few degrees, so they'll end up on my preferred doneness. Fillet steak is absolutely amazing. You can tell just by looking at it how tender it's going to be. And before I go in, I'm going to close up the barbecue, close all the grates right down, and that'll preserve the charcoal for next time. Now we are ready to serve. I'm just going to serve these with some homemade chips that I did in the active fryer. Nothing special here, just chopped up potatoes, bit of butter, bit of oil, because you can't beat steak and chips. One steak a piece, making sure to give myself the slightly bigger one because I am greedy. And then the only thing that can finish off this dish is some of my panic sauce. It really didn't turn out too badly. It was kind of a posh, slightly more complex tasting ketchup. Works well with the chips, works well with the steak, so might well make panic sauce again. And you should too. Now it's time to get into this bad boy and see how I have done. Knife goes through it like absolute butter to reveal the perfectly cooked fillet steak done on the barbecue. These things were incredibly tasty. That dry brine method, cooking it over charcoal, it all just brings the steak to a whole nother level. I highly recommend you do it like this. If you've enjoyed this but you're looking for a slightly more budget friendly barbecue option, then check out one of these videos next.